was a bite, I missed it. Oh! Look at that. It's called a shredded worm. Look at the state of them. Right, there we are. What is it, 8:45, 9:45, I should say. And you join me on the River Thames. It's actually called Colham Reach for my last club match for the 23-24 season. And could be a good day today. So yeah, we've got what, 15 minutes before the start. I just need to make my balls a ground bait, and then I'll go through the rigs and that type of stuff. So bear with me for a second. I just need to get everything sorted out, and then we'll be ready to go. And then who's that? I'm going to put in, how many balls am I got? I'm going to put in 10 balls today. I'm going to fish really positive. Cut out, because I'm sure there's going to be some dogs that run down here today. And then I want some loose feed to go in it. So into that 10 balls of ground bait, I will put 1 pot of caster. Put that in there. Three-quarters of a pot of dead maggot. And we'll get some hemp. I'll put in a pot of hemp. It's been really cold these last few weeks. But this actual last few days the temperature's come up, and there's been a couple of bream caught and a couple of roach caught, so in this section on the other bank, but I'm confident that we might catch some fish today after many weeks of, well, I don't know, terrible winter season, I would say. Of not catching too much, but you know, that's winter carping for you. So let's get this mixed up and then into some balls, and we should be ready for the start at 10 o'clock. Well, I have really no idea. It might be the wrong thing to do, putting this much bait in, but if you don't put a load of bait in, you certainly can't catch lots of fish, and I want to catch lots of fish, so lots of fish or nothing today. I'll put these in really hard. The river's, it's got some flow on it, but not a lot of flow. I've plumbed up with a 3 gram pole float. I can run a 3 gram float through there with no problem. It's slow enough. Hopefully it'll stay like that for the rest of the day. But I think the weather in the country has been pretty good upstream, so there's not a lot of water to come down the river, or less water coming down the river. Right, there we go, 10 balls. So there's the river. It's looking absolutely lovely. There's how many of us today? 12 maybe? 12 on the river. And there's a lot of confidence around about, people think that we'll catch a few fish, and I'm not going to be satisfied with a few fish. I want a lot of fish, so I'm going to put a lot of bait in, and it's either going to work or it's not. And if it doesn't work, I chuck the feeder in the middle of the river. So I've got a backup plan if I need it. Right, those balls are ready to go. Right, should we go through the rigs quickly? Firstly, let's go through, oh no, Okay, we're fishing 3 ways today. First way is my ever trusty pole feeder, black hydro, 8 pound ST, 017 hook length to a size 12 MWGB. That's going to be for bream. I'm going to fish that, or bream and chub. That's going to be fished with double dendrobina worm, and maybe a pinky topper. So that's that rig. Then we've got blue hydro down to a 3 gram AS7, which I'm going to fish with a bulk. It's 013 down to 011 6-inch hook length, size 18. And I've got a feeder set up, which is over there and I can't grab it, which is just a feeder down to a Guru speed bead, 1 meter hook length, of 017 again, size 12 MWGB. In case I need to sling it out in the middle of the river, I've got some smaller hook lengths. You know, if I have to fish double maggot, I will, but I don't really want to. And we'll see how we go. There's the feeder. So just 8 pound ST down to a big old Preston 50 gram feeder. I'm going to sling it in the middle of the river if I need to. And then bait wise, you've seen I've put a bunch of dead maggot, caster and hemp into the ground bait. I've got a load of dendrobina worms over there. I've got some caster, move that there. Then I've got some maggot, some pinky, and I've got a load of pellet, robin red and halibut pellet. I'm going to plug that in the feeder. So I'm going to ball it first. This is the plan. I'm going to ball it at 13 meters. I'm going to go over it with the float. If I don't get any fish on the float, I'll go over it with the pole feeder. But just before I go on it on the pole feeder, I'll put some bait into the middle of the river, and maybe I'll keep topping that up during the day. But I don't expect to have to go on it. I really want to catch at 30 meters on the float, really. There we go. Let's do it. You just know that these Thames pike are listening to that. Going, right, let's go and sit in this peg later on. Put the pole cut back on there. If I'm catching roach, I'll need to top up every 45 minutes to an hour. That would be a great situation for the last match on the river, wouldn't it? We'll start on double maggot. Just imagine there is a nice chub, heard all that commotion, it's come to have a look. So let's make sure I've got something that's going to appeal to it. Right, I'll just bend this camera around. It might take me just a little bit of time to... It's a little bit of time to get it in the right position so you can see. Obviously I'm sitting round to the right and... Right, here we go. Feeder just going in above me. quite a nice run through. The question is whether things want to feed today, or whether, I should say, roach want to feed. There was some bream caught on Friday on this stretch, so there should definitely be options for those, but ideally I wanted to catch some roach and then settle down onto some bream on the pole feeder, but we'll see. Oh, see, that might have been a bite. That might have been well, it went under. Let's have a quick inspection of the bait. Bait looks alright. Now those two grebes that have just swum past have just decided to nosedive in my peg in the middle of the river, so there they are, just come up just to the right there. So they think there's something here to eat. But I've run it to the same place along that run a few times, not hooked anything on the bottom, so you know, fingers crossed, could be a fish just coming up from the bottom of the peg. Oh, it doesn't feel like it's working, does it? Switch back to double maggot again. So I've amazingly deduced it doesn't feel like it's working on the basis I've had one suspect bite and no fish. But that suspect bite gives me confidence. That's what we're going to do, you know. If I run this through for another 5 minutes, I might put a couple of feederfuls of pellets in the middle of the river and then sit on the pole feeder. I might sit on the pole feeder for an hour first and then chuck some pellets in the middle of the river. I don't know. I don't want to confuse myself and go and put a load of bait in different places, you know. That's not what I want to do today. I'll be constantly thinking, should I be on the feeder or should I be on the pole feeder? So we'll give it another 5 more minutes and then we'll go on the pole feeder. Doesn't look like it's going to go though. Definitely giving me confidence though that when it did go under it was a bite, because it's not snagged up or anything, but it's not happened again, so I'm assuming that that was a bite that I had earlier. There, that's gone under, and that's not a roach. It's a good roach, if it's a roach. I've forgotten how long this landing that is. It's a chub. It's a little baby chub. There we go. Oh no, it's not. It's a massive roach. Oh no, it's not, it's a chub. Fish identification, Graham. Right, there we go. Now last week that would have got me second place. Let's stay on this for a little bit longer. I am now wondering, you know, what happens if I go and look a £5 chub on blue hydro. Well, I know the answer is I'm gonna have to hope and pray, but let's see. There's another bite. There's another bite. Right, it's getting exciting. Well, it is for me. I don't know what it's like to watch, but you know, it starts, you know, from the view of my match. You know, start really positive, then sort of gets a little bit, you know, less exciting, and a bite, and then nothing, and then time ticks on, and then we start having discussions about whether balling it was the right idea, and then I'm like, I'm not sure it was, and then I catch a fish, excitement level shoots right up, go back out again, and I've had another bite. So now the excitement level goes shooting right up again. I need to move that round a little bit more, that camera. So the bait went in there, so I expect to get bites. You know, if it was roach, it would be here. Here's where I'll get the bites off roach. But I've got to run it past and past and past and past and past and past. You know, right down here. It's where I've had those bites. Here's another one, and that's another chub. Well, it's another not roach. And that's a little bit more elastic coming out the pole. So I've only got a one, what have I got, an 011 bottom on. You know, we've had chub reported in this section of the river of up to £8 this season. It's a much better chub, this is. So you probably can't see that too well. I've got to take it upstream and then try and bring it up and then have it fall back into the net. That's the plan. Right, upstream. Chub. The first one was a chub, Brian. Yeah, only a baby one. This one's a little bit of a bigger brother. Huh? No. No, 2. Not even that. Yeah. No, it's not even, it's a £1.5 pounds. The more I look at it, the more it's going down in weight. There we go. No more bites, and they might, maybe they're going to go, and maybe they'll come back. So I need to start thinking about the timing, right? So maybe we give it until 11 o'clock, which will be an hour into the match, and go on the pole feeder at 11. And then maybe after, you know, an hour of fishing the pole feeder, then I look at running it through again. You know, maybe that's an option. But you know, that's where my bait should be. There. You know, in 9 foot of water that's not moving too fast, those balls are going to hit the bottom of the river, just within a couple of metres of where I've chucked them. So if I was fishing for roach, this is way out of the target zone, you know, way past. This is where I've hooked both of those chub. Right, that's the end of that for the moment. Let's make a change, get the pole feeder out. I'm not going to put any bait on that middle of the river. I'm going to leave it. I'm satisfied that there's some fish to be had here, so I'm not going to make that change. But I do need to get that bait box and some ground bait. Camera, front centre. Let's get that pellet. Let's get my phone back round there. So we will go double dendrobina, relatively decent sized bait. Then the feeder will start putting some caster, maggot and some pinky. Let's just put it all in. Oh, and that's got caught up, but it's all good now. Right, drop it just where those balls went. Hold it just slightly to the right, I think. Okay, now wait for the pole to get pulled in. So if you've never seen me fish the pole feeder before, it's a pretty simple rig. I've got black hydro to 8 pound ST. That goes down to Guru speed bead, and I've got a 1 meter hook length. The clever bit of the rig is at the top end, you can just see some pink hydro. And I've got 2 sets of gripper stops, and I've got a short piece of pink hydro, which then effectively makes a D shape with the line running loose or slack between the 2 gripper stops. What happens is the fish grab the bait, and they pull that bait, and effectively what they end up doing is they end up pulling on the pink hydro, so you see it and you can feel it, and then ultimately if they're pulling hard enough, it will move the tip. If it's a big fish, what happens is that elastic straightens out to the point where actually the elastic does nothing, it's just the line, and then you're playing the fish on 0.17 bottom, 8 pound main line, and black hydro. So that's kind of how the rig works. I think when I put it in again next time, I'm going to put it slightly to the left. Because that 40 gram feeder is sitting nicely. What's time? Just before 12. Let's get on the on the pole again. I hadn't had any signs of fish, so what we'll do is we'll switch and have a few runs through on the pole, and if that's unsuccessful, I will start to put in a whole host of chop worm. Let's try and get some bream in the peg. So, we got a bunch of chop worm, and that's going to go into this ground bait. Try and maximise the scent. I'm going to pot a couple of these in. And then I'm going to put some pellets in and do everything I can to create a big smelly trail that's going to go down the river. So I'll just pop these in. We'll get some of these pellets and some chop worm. You can just see that there. For maximum stink. Okay, see what we can do then. We need Bream to win, so that's what we've got to try and catch. That was a bite, I've missed it. Oh! Look at that. That's called a shredded worm. Look at the state of them. Right. Let's get back out there. They've definitely been down a fish's throat. How I've not managed to hook that fish, I don't know, but right. That was a nice chop worm pile. It's very unusual to miss a bite on the pole feeder as well. So we'll just do the next update. We're just coming up to 1 o'clock. We've got 2 hours left in the match, and currently I'm nowhere. I've got 2 little chub that will probably go £2 between them, and there's a £5 bream to my left. There's at least 2 bream to the left of that, and at least 1 bream to the left of that. There was 4 different anglers in the stretch have had bream already, and I'm desperately trying everything I can to add me to that group of anglers. I'm putting a lot of chop worm, a lot of caster. I've put a bit more ground bait in. I'm fishing the pole feeder with double dendrobina. I'm fishing for bream. I'm looking for bream, and I'm trying to do everything I can to try and catch myself a bream. There's a fish. There's a fish. It's not a big fish, but it's a fish. Oh, hello. It's jumping around, isn't it? Why is it topping? Why is that topped? There's a pike after it. I don't need that today. It's another chub. No, it's not. It's a trout. I've caught a trout in a match. Okay. I have no idea if that counts. What's that? It's a brown trout count. The brown trout count. Oh, I think it's a brown trout. Yeah. It's a big trout. Yeah. Huh? Do you know, I've never hooked a fish and I don't know what it is. Yeah. It looks like it's got the head of a salmon. Look at that. I think that's a huge brown trout. Give me my book bench back. That a bit tired now. Alright, fish. Right, I don't know what it is. Hook's out. Anyone know what that is? Put your answers in the comments, and I'll let you know later once I have a bunch of anglers verify it. Right, just rest there for a minute, fish. Right, hold on a second. Couple of pound? Should I throw it back? Hey, I need to put it in the river just to recover for a second. If it jumps out, everyone's seen it. Right, I've got to consider this fish's welfare. It's just gone hell for leather to try and get away. It's looking good. Right, I'll get you back in here. Certainly flapping around a lot. Sit upright, fish. suspect what might happen is this fish might recover. Just going to hold it there in the river for a minute. There's enough flow when it gets into the keep net, but I don't want it to. I'm not going to put it in and it go belly up at the top, so right, it's starting to swim around in the landing net. It could jump straight out. Right, swim around in that bit. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. You good to go? Yeah, perfect. Right, one happy fish. Right, brown trout. Right, have it. That's a huge brownie, isn't it? I thought brown trout was small. Right, that is going on the club Facebook page as club match catch of the year. Right, come on Bream. This is a bit of a poor show. I think I'm just going to stick with it. They fished. Any good, Bob? Any good? So for screaming, I've just waited on the guy next door. I think I just won't reg up. I think I just won't reg up. I've shouted at Bob and I think I've woken him up. The gentleman to my right's fallen asleep. So yeah, the two guys to my right are fishing feeders in the middle. Brian to my left, he's fishing further out than me. He's had that one bream, but no more. Just don't think starting a new line is the right thing to do. I think I'm better off to stay here. I think this is the right thing. Keep putting some chop worm in. Keep casting relatively frequently. I wonder if I'm just thinking about the bream today, right? Let's try and, you know, I was just trying to have some thoughts about it. You know, was there bream in my peg to start with? Don't know. Was there some in the middle? Don't know. Was there some on the far bank? Don't know, right? But as the day goes on, if you're not catching, am I best positioned where I am? I'm using this principle of I've put a load of bait there, I keep putting scent through the water. If there's fish come up, they're going to come up here. But if those fish are on the far bank, you know, I don't know if their scent's like sharks. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if putting some scent here does anything about, you know, what's going on the far bank. I'm fishing 13 metres here, so let's assume the river is 50 metres wide, maybe a bit less, maybe 40 metres wide. It's got to be that. It's got to be 40. So actually, as the day goes on and I've not caught, maybe I should be working my way out further into the middle of the river, and then hoping that if there's fish coming along the far bank, and that's where they've decided to come up the river today, or in the middle, then I've got a chance of catching them more than I've got a chance if I'm fishing on this edge of the middle, you know? If that makes sense. I'm sure it does. As the day goes on, where I've caught no fish, is it better to be out in the middle? But the only thing I've got sort of countering that idea is that's exactly what the guys to my right are doing. They're fishing in the middle, they're not catching any fish. So it's a bit hard to sort of draw any conclusions. But maybe what I need to think about is, and I said I would do this and I haven't done it, which is a little bit annoying now. If I can't catch on the float, go on the pole feeder for an hour. If I don't catch on the pole feeder for an hour, lob it in the middle. And that is what I said I was going to do. So where are we? Just coming up to 30 minutes left. Lovely day, but I've not caught too much. I've had a couple of chub and a strange appearance from a brown trout on a match where there's been bream caught in the section, so I'm certainly not going to do any good in the match currently, and unless I catch about 4 bream in the next 30 minutes, I think that any dreams of doing okay are going to disappear. But I've had a lovely day, and I started on the pole at 13 metres. I put 10 balls in. I was fishing under the principle today of, if the fish want to feed, then I want to be the one feeding them, and I wanted to hold the fish in my peg, and I was going to, you know, it's either going to be a big weight or nothing. I've gone over it with the pole float. I've run it through for about 20 minutes, nothing's happened, and I've had a bite. I've stayed on it and I've had a little chub, about half a pound, and that's given me the confidence to stay on it. And actually, probably over the next 10 minutes, I've had another bite and then another chub, about 1.5 pounds. But then nothing for the next 20 minutes, so I made a move to the pole feeder. I thought that was the next logical step, and I fished that, putting in just some maggots and pinkies and caster, and I've had no success there. So probably about hour 3, I'd have to check the timings, but hour 3 I started putting chopped worm in, and I've had a brown trout, of all things, a couple of pound. But you know, indications around me that people were catching bream, so I felt it was the right thing to do, to stay on the pole feeder for longer, in a hope to draw some bream to the peg, and it's not worked. So you find me now with 30 minutes to go, and I've lobbed the feeder in the middle of the river in a hope to see that, you know, if that's a better idea, you know. And if the tip goes over, then I'm going to decide it was a better idea. If it doesn't go over, then I'm not sure if it was or if it wasn't, so we will see. But I've had a nice day, and as I said, it's good to be back out, and lots of fishing coming up. Alright, that's the end of that. So everyone, that's the end of my match. Thank you for coming, I appreciate it as always. Thank you for all of the likes and I'm sure you've all hit subscribed. If you're not, give it the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Can't grab my rig here, it's too windy. And you know, that's it for the rivers for a few months. Like I said, I've had a good run this year, caught loads of roach, caught a bunch of bream, qualified for Riverfest, big match, and I'm very happy with my river season. So next year, let's see if we can catch a carp and a barbel out the river. I've got some plans and some ideas. So I'm going to get packed up now. I'm going to walk up. I'm going to watch the weigh in, take some pictures for the club Facebook page. So I will catch you all later. Ta-da.